Chicka chicka boom boom sequence of events. What do you think would happen if letters tried to climb up a coconut tree? Anybody? Before reading the story, we probably thought that this was just a silly question, right? We probably numbers, letters can't go up a coconut tree. That would just be silly. But with this book, we got to see what would happen. Something like this, right? Our letters fell down. For today's lesson, we're going to have to use both our listening ears and our thinking caps. While we were reading the story earlier, we had to use our listening ears. We had to make sure that we were listening to the story. We were understanding what was happening and when it was happening. And later on, we're going to use our thinking caps. We're going to remember what we were reading. When we're reading, we always want to try to make sure that we are understanding what is being read to us or what we are reading. So today we're going to be using two strategies. We're going to be using our listening ears and our thinking caps. Our learning objective. So our learning objective, remember we have been learning about I will or I can statements. So today we are going to have a learning objective. I will be able to show my understanding of the sequence of events in Chicka Chicka Boom Boom by completing the retelling activity properly. So by the end of our whole lesson today, and after we already read our story, we are going to be able to put our story pictures from our story in order. So let's make sure we're using our listening ears. What was my day like today? Well, first I woke up and ate dinner, and then I put my pajamas on and I went to school. And next, I brushed my teeth and played with my friends. This is really silly, isn't it? This isn't really how everyone's day would usually go. So when we're talking about sequence of events, we're talking about the order that things are happening in. I have an example here of making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But let's go back for just a second. I said that first I woke up and I ate dinner. Do you usually wake up and eat dinner? No, I usually don't eat dinner in the morning. That's breakfast. What about I put my pajamas on and then I went to school? Is that usually what you do? Do you usually put your pajamas on and then you go to school? No, right. We always put our clothes on and then we go to school. Pajamas are before bed. And last, I brushed my teeth and played with my friends. At the end of my day, I'm brushing my teeth and I'm playing with my friends? No, that's not right. So it was always important to remember what order things happened in. That's where we have our sequence of events, the order of events in a story. So I'm going to go through the sequence of events or the order of making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Now, up here on the board, I want you guys to see the vocabulary that we have here. We have first, firstly, earlier. And then when we move on, there's next, secondly, afterward, meanwhile. We also have then, later, after that, soon. And in our last little box here, we have lastly, last, finally, at the end, or at last. So remember to be listening for some of those, and we're listening to some of our stories as well. That'll help us remember in what order things are happening in. Or when we go to retell, we know which order we can put our vocabulary in. So first, I have to grab my 2 pieces of bread, right? Remember, we're making our peanut butter jelly sandwich. Next, I have to put my peanut butter and my jelly on my 2 slices of bread, okay? Then, add to my 2 pieces of bread together, okay? And last, I get to eat my delicious peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So let's think back to our story. Let's look at each of these little boxes, these little pictures that we have. When did these happen? So we have ABC. A told B and B told C, I'll meet you at the top of the coconut tree. Next, we have H is tangled with I. J and K are about to cry. L is knotted like a tie. Down here on the bottom, we have chicka chicka boom boom. And in the last little box, we have next from the pile up, skinned knee D and the stub toe E and the patched up E. Then comes G, all out of breath. So when we're doing our story sequencing, let's go ahead and think about it together, okay? So out of our 4 pictures that we had earlier, we had 4. Which one happened first? Right, we had our A, B, and B and C. What about next? What happened next? Out of our 4 pictures, which one happened next? Right, they all fell down. We had chicka chicka boom boom. And then what happened then? Can anyone tell me? Good job. All right, and last, what was our last box from those four options that we had with 1 left? What happened? Good job. All right, so let's find a buddy. So for this, everybody's gonna pair up. We're gonna find a buddy and let's get the conversation going, okay? Now here, we're gonna use our thinking caps and our listening ears again, okay? So first, you're going to talk about what happened in the story and what your favorite part was. So you're gonna remember, you're gonna put a thinking cap on, and you're gonna think about what happened during our story. And now once we think about it, we're gonna tell our buddy, and we're gonna tell them what our favorite part was, all right? And while our other buddy is telling us what their favorite part is and what they heard from the story, we need to have our listening ears on. While our buddies are talking, we need to be using our listening ears. We need to not be speaking, we need to be respectful, okay? So everybody take some time, find your buddies, and let's go ahead and talk about this. Okay, so now that we've all gone over our sequence of events, we've practiced a little bit together, we've talked to our buddies, now you're gonna try, okay? So everybody has a worksheet. We have our fiction stories worksheet. It looks just like this, all right? The first step is we're gonna put our name. We always put your name on your paper. So in the top right-hand corner where it says name, everybody's gonna write their name, please. We are then going to think. We're going to think back to what happened during our story. We need to then go in. We're going to draw pictures of what happened during our story. So the first thing that we remember, that's going to be our first box. Next, we're going to put anything from the story that could have happened next, all right? But make sure you have room for 2 more. We need then and last. So make sure we have 4 pictures, different from the ones that we had earlier. So 4 pictures that we can remember. And we need to remember what order they went in, okay? So make sure you put them in the correct box. And if you have extra time before we're all finished, you can also write a sentence to go with your pictures. If you don't have time, that's okay. Focus on our pictures and everyone makes sure that they are in order, okay? We want to make sure that we're thinking and we're remembering, we're using our listening ears, we're using our thinking caps now and remembering what happened in our story, okay? Okay, so now that everybody has gone over their work and everybody has done their sequence of events, we are now going to go over our work. We're going to share what everybody thought, okay? So I want everyone to go over what their pictures were. So we go over, say what your pictures were, what order they went in, okay? And say why you chose your pictures. Did you like the drawings? Did you think it was a funny, funny word that they said on the page? Tell me why, okay? Let's go over it. Let's share our work. Okay, and let's keep the learning going, guys, okay? So our worksheets, we're gonna bring your worksheets home and you're gonna show your parents your work. You're gonna tell them what your sequence of events is for our story that we read, our chicka chicka boom boom. You're gonna have them initial the bottom of the page to show that you have done your work, okay? I want everyone to have just initials. Remember, your initials are just the letters that your name begins with. So have them write their first initial and their last initial. We're learning about that the other day, okay? So have them write that on the bottom of the page so that I know that you did it. And you can show them what your pictures were and what happened in your story, and you can tell them all about it, okay? Great job, guys. All right, so this is my reflection for the MicroTeach number 1. Why did you make the choices that you made? So I chose language arts. I was a little bit more comfortable with it. I did kindergarten. I haven't gotten a chance to work in the classroom, but I did homeschool my daughter, and I've homeschooled her for kindergarten, first grade, and second grade now. So kindergarten, I kind of feel a little bit more comfortable with. I do understand the standards because I've tried to keep her through Common Core, so I just felt a little more comfortable with that. And language arts was a little bit easier for me from that as well. What are your plans for MicroTeach number 2? What will you do again, and what will you change? For MicroTeach number 2, I don't know. I think I got a pretty good groove figured out with this one. Now that I understand how exactly the lesson plan works and what all it entails, I kind of, I guess, think I have a better idea of how to do it. So I don't know there really be much that I would change, but I guess I'll just the outline. I kind of outlined everything, and that helped me a lot. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I missed one. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so what was the most difficult part about planning this lesson? So for me, I had never done anything like this. Like I've done other classes that have, talked about lesson planning, doing that kind of stuff, but nothing that was this in detail, I guess. Nothing this detailed. So this was quite difficult for me. But now that I think that I've done it once, like I said, for MicroTeach number 2, I think it'll be a lot easier, but this one was a lot very detailed. So that I really struggled with, but I think now I've got a pretty good grasp on it. Well, thank you guys for watching my video.